Looks funny to me.
Desert Financial Credit Union is located at 300 North Beeline Highway, inside Walmart, and their number is 603-433-7000.
And a big thank you to Desert Financial Credit Union for sponsoring our Community Spotlight program here on KRIM 96.3 FM. Good morning, Rim Country. Hope you're having a great Wednesday morning. Another beautiful day out there, but there are some wind advisories in effect for today. So if you have those umbrellas up or the shade sails, the shade coverings like I forgot to take down in our backyard this morning, I need to run back and do that. You might want to take those down as the winds increase throughout the day. Well, this morning on our Community Spotlight program, we're going to be talking about a topic that has been discussed quite extensively, I feel, here in Payson, but we maybe haven't seen a lot happening with it throughout the years, and that is workforce housing and affordable housing. And here to talk about that and to share information on an upcoming meeting that's going to be happening is Steve Oberholtzer.
Very good, yes.
And let me see if I can do both, and Kathy Almendarez.
Close enough.
Almendarez. Almendarez. Oh, I got, 50-50. Oh, Almendarez. So, Kathy Almendarez, thank you so much for coming on the program this morning. And first and foremost, the upcoming meeting, if you can give the information on that.
Yes, the upcoming meeting will be Wednesday, October 18th at 6 p.m. at the Payson United Methodist Church. And that's at 414 North Easy Street. And if you're not too familiar with the area, it's kind of behind the Ace Hardware store. And we're going to have a workforce affordable housing gathering. Hopefully we'll have all groups that are interested in there come and attend. There'll be speakers who'll be able to speak on this project and answer questions, and then we'll also treat you to root beer floats afterwards.
Oh boy, hey, there we go, root beer floats. So I know I was invited to come speak. Who are some of the other speakers, people that will be coming to present or to give information?
Well, we have, of course, you, Chris Higgins, and then we have Craig Stalwart, and they were he's a former mayor here.
Craig Swartwood.
Swartwood, thank you. I'm messing up there too. And then we have Tricia Tedbo, and she's the Community Presbyterian Church pastor. And then we have Kenny Evans, and he's going to be speaking for the MHA, the Mogayan Health Alliance.
Yep, MHA Foundation.
Yeah, a foundation. Okay.
Okay, so again, this is on October
18th at 6 p.m.
6 p.m. and that's at the Payson United Methodist
And
Church.
everybody's welcome. It'll be hopefully informative. We'll get people together who are all like-minded and trying to, solve this problem that we have.
And one of the goals is we're trying to get every possible perspective on it. Everybody that's interested from any aspect, we want to get them so that we can see different perspectives on the problem and address it from different angles. That's what we're trying to do.
And one of the questions I asked before the program is, why are you involved in this, Steve? Why is this an important issue for you?
Well, just because I want people to be treated fairly. And it seems like we're squeezing out some people that are trying to do a good job, trying to live here, find a job, make a life for themselves. And they can't, because people like me move in here and buy houses and pay what's a fair price for them, but there's not enough houses in their price range, not enough apartments, not enough places to live for people that are working anywhere from the fire department to the police department to Taco Bell, okay? They can't afford to live. And I think if you want somebody to make your burrito for you, if you want somebody to check you out at the grocery store, we need to treat those people fairly. And, putting them in a $600,000 house isn't it, And that's basically what it takes here. And these are people, they're just like you and me, but they're not in the same situation you and I are in. And we need to take care of them. We're people, it's our job, take care of our neighbors. That's the way I see it.
And what have you seen are some of the factors that have contributed to the affordable and workforce housing crisis that we're seeing, not just in Payson, but this is an issue all across the state of Arizona. So what are some of the challenges that, from looking at this and from kind of analyzing this a little bit, that you've seen?
Well, one of the basic drivers, okay, and this is more philosophical maybe than it should be, is the fact that wages have not, real wages, adjusted for inflation, have not increased for like 20, 25 years. But the cost of living has gone up in that period of time. And what can you do? They're still paying you $15 an hour, but the house price goes up and it's not enough. That's one of the factors. And the other factor is Payson's a desirable area. It gets a lot of pressure from people that want to come up here on the weekends or whenever. And a lot of people want to live here like I do. There's other factors are the rental situation when people come in and they buy a house and they rent it out on the weekends and make money on that, but it's not available for a person to live in. And that's I don't know the size of that problem, but it's a real issue. That's what other issues are important. I don't know that, but that's the main ones that I see. Is that wage growth hasn't happened, but cost growth surely has.
Yeah, and when we talk about the rental situation, and you have long-term rentals, which residents, they rent homes so they can live in the community, live in a town, and then you have short-term rentals. And those short-term rentals, the Airbnbs and VRBOs, are a real problem throughout the state, and mainly in the more desirable communities. So I know I was at a conference recently, and with mayors and council members, town managers from all the municipalities in the state. Sedona has a real problem over there, and Page. I was shocked when the mayor of Page. And Page, I know Payson, we're a little island kind of up here, and we have, some smaller neighboring communities that mainly rely on us for shopping and other things. But Page, they're really on a little island up there. There's nothing really close to Page at all. He said they have, I think, 15 firefighters. 6 of them live in Phoenix.
Oh my
They
God.
live down in the valley. They live in the valley. And because there aren't homes for them up there. And he said where it's a concern for them is what happens when they have a large fire, or they have a fire that they need more than the firefighters they have in the community that reside there. We're very fortunate to have neighboring communities and neighboring fire districts. So Pine Strawberry, they can come and provide support. Hell's Gate, Christopher Coles, Water Wheel, and even in the recent tanker fire that we had on 87, I believe it was Prescott. They came over to provide support for us. So we have the communities that can support us, but the Page, it's a little different situation. So, and that's created by the Airbnbs and or the short-term rentals. So that has been a challenge. And then municipalities are limited in ordinances or laws that they can implement because of state laws. So the state has really kind of handcuffed, municipalities into, there isn't a percentage or a certain amount, they can have, or say, okay, we're only going to have 10% or 15% limit,
Right.
the number of short-term rentals. So that has created an issue in a lot of communities. And then the desirability, like you said, Steve, the desirability of communities. I think Payson, for a while, there were a lot of people that didn't know about Payson. And, wait, Payson? You mean Prescott? No, Payson. And, but now more and more people have discovered Payson, and people that move here and they share with their friends, oh my gosh, this Payson, it's beautiful, and they come and visit. Wow, this is amazing, and yeah, we should look at homes here. Being discovered as well.
Yeah, what brought me to Payson was when I retired and my children moved to the valley, Phoenix.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Phoenix is just too hot to live. And I wanted a community close to Phoenix that would let me be cool, or moderately cool, and looked at Prescott and, hey, there's no trees over there. Come over here, hey, there's trees.
Yeah.
This is a good spot.
Uh-huh.
And Payson is a desirable spot, and there's pressures that come associated with that.
Mm-hmm. So Kathy, how long have you lived in Payson?
Since 1993.
Since 1993. And what brought you to Payson?
I got the job as postmaster up here, and I was postmaster from 1993 to 2006.
Oh, wow, okay.
And of course, when I first came up here, I don't think I'm going to stay. And then after 6 months, I said, I got to stay here.
So then you're familiar with the Hash Knife Pony Express?
Oh yes, definitely.
Yeah. Oh well.
I rode once down the street road with them.
You did. Oh.
Scared me to death.
and probably Captain Mark Reynolds. He was the captain at the time. He's been captain for a while now. I don't know if you heard, and it's really not been put out there, but there's going to be a Hash Knife Pony Express statue unveiling.
I've heard that.
You have heard that, yes, right in front of the county building, across from the post office.
Right.
It's Friday, October 27th at 2 o'clock.
Oh, fantastic.
So,
I wasn't quite sure of the date. I heard that it was coming.
Yeah, so I'll get you that date because you need to come out there and maybe get back on the horse.
I don't know how to get back on the horse.
That's great. So, postmaster, wow. And then after you were done, or when you moved here, did you know that you wanted to stay in Payson, or did you decide that after?
I think I decided that after I was here for a while. It was, the job opportunity. And but once I was here, there's no going back to the valley.
Gotcha. And now, why? What got you involved with this cause?
Well, a lot of what Steve said, but I don't think people really look at the big picture. If they're focused on trying to keep the community small and not growing, then they won't have the support group that they really need. So if you want to go to a doctor, all of a sudden the doctors aren't here, or if you even there was an article in the paper just recently about the police department. They keep losing police officers. The poor policemen are working 12 hours a day. So all of a sudden our safety's in peril because we can't provide housing for families, and it goes all the way down the line. It just mushrooms. If people really look at the big picture, if we don't have the support people, the workforce people, to support our community, then our community won't be growing and won't be sustained. So, and of course, like Steve said, we just want people to have an opportunity to raise their families and live in a home,
And Chris, there's two ways to solve the affordable housing problem. And you can tell us the difference between affordable and workplace housing. But two ways to solve it in my mind. There may be other ways, but pay people more so they can afford to live here, or you can find a way to get them houses that are cheap enough
Mhm.
to match the income they've got. And paying people more, people just generally don't want to do that for some reason. It's going to raise the cost of everything, you know? And face it, that's happening anyway.
Mhm.
But, yeah, the practical thing seems to be finding a way to provide cheaper housing.
Yes, yeah, and that's what you see, other communities, businesses. There's, larger businesses, that will buy housing or build housing for their employees. And that's where, some of their employees will live, in that housing. You have companies that, will transport employees from a neighboring community or a nearby community to their facility, because maybe where their facility is, the housing in that area is very expensive, but it's more affordable in a neighboring or a community that's 30 minutes away, that's 45 minutes away. So they provide transport. That's where I was talking to my brother, who lives in Sedona. And he said there was one of the businesses there, that's what they would do. They had a shuttle and would transport employees that lived in Cottonwood.
Yeah.
So they would shuttle them, so they didn't have to drive, they didn't have to spend that money on gas, all of it. And that made a difference, that helped them retain and get, employees. So yeah, there's different solutions, there's different things that you can do to help, the situation, but I think, like you said, it comes down to people having to be able to afford it,
Right.
whether it's because they're getting more money, they're getting paid more and they have that, or, it's provided at a lower cost.
Right.
And that's something I know, we're looking at, and there's other organizations in town. You mentioned MHA Foundation, and Kenny Evans will be there to speak, and there's other groups as well. Craig Swartwood, he's involved.
Correct.
Yep, with an organization, that offers and looking at housing that could be kept at a lower price. That can be subsidized, whether it's by an organization, the town, whoever, to where people that are in the workforce can afford that.
And that's, I think Craig Swartwood with his 501c3 or whatever it is that he's got, that's a sterling example in my mind of a practical way that's making things happen here that make it available and affordable for some retirees, some older folks, and just people that can't afford full price. And he's told me that because the people, the original fund grantors are stepping out of the scene, and anyway, the prices it's going to be a better deal now. They'll have him some more flexibility, and he will be able to explain more at the meeting on this coming week on the 18th.
So again, the meeting is Workforce Affordable Housing Initiative Gathering, where there'll be speakers there and discussion on workforce and affordable housing. It's Wednesday, October 18th at 6 p.m. at the Payson United Methodist Church, and that's at 414 North Easy Street. And afterwards, Kathy said there's root beer floats. So that is always good. I mean, a little ice cream, oh my goodness.
So you were talking earlier about the difference between affordable and workforce housing.
Well, yeah, and affordable housing, it's kind of ambiguous, affordable
Right.
housing, because depending on who you are, affordable is defined differently.
Sure.
So it gets kind of thrown around, quite a bit. Oh, well, this isn't affordable housing, or, this is affordable housing. And it really depends who your audience is, who you're talking to. So that's where I think workforce housing, really defining it to where it's for the workforce in a community, and it's established in a way that if it's rents, that the rents will stay at a certain level, and they're based on income levels.
Sure.
And that determines the price of that rental. But in doing that, there has to be, has to be subsidized in a way, or somebody has to be compensating, some way
Right.
to make that possible. And then there's low income housing, which is different as well. And I think, when you have some discussions with some people, they think, oh, well, we don't want workforce housing, that's low income. And no, it's not low income housing, it is different than low income housing. And it's good to understand, the differences between those. And I think that's, something that would be brought out as well at this meeting, because there are people that have, reservations when you talk about workforce housing or
Sure.
affordable housing. They think, oh, low income housing. And wait a second, no, we don't want that. That's
Take our value.
take our value down, take our home
Yeah.
values down. Well, what will for sure take your home values down is when there aren't services in the town, because no one can afford to live here to, work at the hospital or work at the schools or work at these different places. And that is a negative, and that will negatively affect your home values when the town isn't able to offer those amenities to its residents. Then fewer people will want to move here.
That's absolutely true, is that it's a whole synergistic system we got going on here
Mhm.
of tourists and people that are living here,
Mhm.
and sad to say, weekend renters as well.
Yeah.
They're all part of the whole picture that needs to gel together,
Yeah.
but we're leaving the poor, the guys that are working at the hospital.
Yeah.
They got no place to live.
Yeah.
MHA did some amazing things with their cargo,
Yeah, the container home.
container
yeah, one of
homes.
those, yeah.
and that was pretty outside the box thinking. And I
Mhm.
think to solve this, there's gonna be some outside the box thinking that's
Yeah.
gotta be done.
And I think, there isn't one solution. There
Right,
isn't,
yeah.
oh, we just need to look at apartments. Well, there's a lot of other options other than apartments where probably it would be good to have an apartment complex, in town, one or two more. But you have apartments, you have, duplexes, quadplexes, you have tiny homes, you have container homes. There are a lot of different options when it comes to housing, but ultimately, it does come down to the town approving or moving forward with a higher density, because
Yep.
how it has been to date is, larger lots and single-family homes. You're not going to get an affordable or workforce housing in a single-family home. That's going to be very, very hard because of the price of land, the cost of land.
The city is making a new general plan this year, and I managed to get a slot on the general plan people.
Uh-huh.
And one of the things I hope to do there is include in the zoning laws an addition of tiny homes,
Mhm.
making it so there's tiny homes available somewhere in
Mhm.
the city.
Mhm.
And I want to keep all the higher density housing we can and keep it scattered so there's not a zone of this is
Mhm.
where the workers live and this is where the retirees live.
Mhm.
No, I don't want that. It's a community.
It is, and that's where, I was in a meeting where, and it's unfortunate that the project didn't happen, but there wasn't a selection. The project wasn't selected by the state for this grant, but they had talked about in Colorado. In Colorado, there's been this problem for a long time in those desirable mountain communities where housing prices have gone crazy and there's no one to work. So they build these little, the condominiums where if they had 125 condominiums, 70 of them or 75 are dedicated for workforce housing. Well, then you have another 50 units that's a building in the same area or a couple buildings that are sold at market value. So you have people that are buying those at market value, and then you have workforce housing right there. And they're coexisting. It's not a case where, that we have to be separated, there's a wall between us because we don't want to see,
I like that idea.
And it's the same housing, it's the same quality, the same build. It's not like the workforce condos are cheaper and they don't look as nice, and then these are nicer. They've said, they've been doing that for years and it works very well. And I thought, wow, that's great because like you said, community. It's about community, and we are a community. So to, want to separate and say, no, you have to stay over here.
We only want to see you when you're working for me. Yes.
And it's also doing it in a logical way to where, and that's how, our zoning map has been set up, to where you don't put an apartment complex or condominiums next to 1 acre or 2 acre lots.
No.
No, you have a gradual where it goes from an acre or two down to half acre, and then quarter acre or so, and then it scales down. So you do pay attention to that, and you're sensitive to that. But to say, well, we just don't want it anywhere in town,
No.
it's not reasonable. It's not good.
It's not practical. The
Not
town
practical.
will not survive if everybody's got to be bussed in from the valley. No, it's not going to happen.
Yep, no, very, very true. Again, this Workforce Affordable Housing Initiative gathering is Wednesday, October 18th at 6 p.m. at the Payson United Methodist Church. Is there a number or a place where people can go for more information, or if they have questions?
They're welcome to give me a call. I'd be
Okay.
glad to answer their questions. And I'm Steve, and I'm at 951-232-3823.
All right.
There's a lot of 2s and 3s in there. You'll get it.
All right, and well, there you go. It's 10:30.
Oh,
So that went quick, didn't it?
It did.
You see, I told you, Kathy, it would be okay. It would be good. So again, talking with Steve Oberholtzer and Kathy Almendarez. Got it that time, right?
Right.
There you go. I had to read it though. Again, and they're part of the group that is just bringing people together to start these discussions, to address the lack of workforce and affordable housing here in Payson and Rim Country, and trying to come up with solutions. So thank you.
Well, thank you for having us.
Oh,
Thanks for having us.
Yes, you're so very welcome, and I'll see you on Wednesday.
All right.
See you on Wednesday.
Great.
Yeah, and hopefully people listening and watching can make it out as well, because this definitely is an issue that needs to be addressed, and hopefully with different organizations and groups working together, the town, the county, the school district, MHA Foundation, and other groups in town, we can come up with some solutions and actually implement them. That's the big thing. That's,
Talk's cheap. It's been talked
is
for
cheap.
decades on this.
Yeah, and you know what? And I have to tell you, Steve, this is just personal observation. I feel like why more hasn't been done on this issue, and from sitting up there in a council seat now for over 8 years, there's pressure from a few, a small group of very vocal residents that will come to meetings and say, no, don't, we don't want higher density. No, don't change that zoning. No, this is wrong and it's hurting our home values and it's not good for the town and you're ruining Payson. And unfortunately, people in those council seats, they cave, they give into that. And even though staff and studies and all of the data is telling us, boy, we need affordable housing, we need workforce housing, we need higher density, but there's not the action. And people will say when they're running for council, oh, I'm gonna do something about workforce housing, I'm gonna do something about affordable housing. But then when they get in that seat and they feel the heat,
Well, maybe we can put some heat on the other side.
and there we go. So that is great, Kathy, and that's exactly what I was going to say. If you want to see these things happen, if you want to see, the workforce and affordable housing come to the meetings.
Yeah.
Come to the meetings, be, that voice of support, and be vocal about supporting those things. And it's the same with other things in the community as well. If you want to see these things happen, and see things actually change, then you need to be that voice, of positivity and saying, hey, I want to see these things happen.
Well, I noticed that the council did vote on development north of Northwoods
Mm-hmm.
and encourage them, they're striking some kind of deal to
Yeah.
include affordable housing in that development.
Yep. And what was great was the developers or that company, they did do a deal in Tempe, and that's where they created some workforce housing working with the city of Tempe. So it's good that they have a track record,
Yeah.
of doing that. So yes, that was, and it was unanimous. That was also great to see, I believe that was a unanimous vote, so that's encouraging.
It is.
All right, well, time to get back to the music, here with some Goo Goo Dolls, REM, and The Who, and more. But first, an update from the National Weather Service, and again, thank you, Steve, and thank you, Kathy, for coming on this morning. All right, guys, hope you have a great rest of your day.
With this morning's KRIM weather forecast for Payson and
See you later, guys.